everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Honda Civic Type R. In this review, I'm going to start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. I'll also take it for a thorough drive and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up and let her run. By now, most of you have probably heard a lot about the all-new Civic Type R. With a base price of $34,775, including destination and handling, it represents an incredible performance bargain. It's powered by a unique turbocharged engine and features significant suspension, aerodynamic, and structural enhancements to create one of the most rewarding front-wheel drive cars you'll ever have the pleasure of driving. Despite a history that spans the last 20 years, this is the first time a Civic Type R has ever been offered in the United States. You can thank the 10th generation Civic's all-new global platform. Unlike the Civic Si, which is only offered in sedan and coupe forms, the Type R is offered exclusively as a four-door hatchback. It goes without saying, but the most polarizing aspect of this car is styling. It's a mix of functional and non-functional add-ons that give the car a seriously aggressive look that's anything but subtle. The front fascia in particular serves several purposes. For example, in order to limit turbulence coming off of the large wheels, the splitter's winglets work in conjunction with the side vents in the bumper cover to create what's known as an air curtain around the front wheels. The winglets at the ends of the pronounced side sills continue this effect around the rear wheels. Tucked away in between the bumper cover and splitter are a pair of vents that channel cool air to the front brakes, helping mitigate fade under hard use. An exclusive hood scoop not only serves to cool down the engine compartment, but also to reduce front-end lift. The Type R's hood is actually made from aluminum to optimize weight distribution and save 11.7 pounds. The body is 1.5 inches longer and 3.1 inches wider than your typical Civic hatchback. The latter stems from wider front and rear tracks and the accompanying wider fenders. The vertical fender vents channel air from the wheel wells. The body structure is also further reinforced with structural adhesives in key stress areas to increase structural rigidity over a Civic hatchback. Out back, the massive rear wing is perhaps the car's biggest source of controversy. It sits above the small spoiler that comes on every Civic hatchback and generates 66 pounds of downforce at 124 miles per hour, in conjunction with the front splitter and rear diffuser. At the top of the hatch door are 4 vortex generators that, along with the side buttresses, help direct airflow over the rear wing. Underneath the car, there are several under trays that help guide air from the front splitter to the rear diffuser. Beneath the engine and transmission is an aluminum under tray that features a cooling duct to provide airflow to the hydraulic engine mount. The Civic Si sedan and coupe both have starting MSRPs of $24,975, including destination and handling. With a price difference of almost 10 grand, the Type R commands a hefty premium, but it's also kind of in a different league, designed to compete against the segment's elite, including but not limited to the Ford Focus RS, Subaru WRX STI, and the Volkswagen Golf R. The Type R has the most aggressive wheel and tire package ever fitted to a production Honda. Measuring 20 by 8.5 inches all the way around, the wheels are 2 inches larger in diameter and 1 inch wider than the wheels fitted to the Si. The 5-split Y-spoke design comes finished in gloss black with a red accent stripe that matches the lower body cladding. The 245/30 tires were developed with Continental to suit the specific needs of this car. They're 10 millimeters wider than the Si's tires and offer a ton of grip. One of the more surprising things about this car is how well it handles, being that it doesn't have all-wheel drive like many of its rivals. Honda worked some serious magic here. In fact, it's able to easily pull 1 G of lateral acceleration around a skid pad. That's impressive for any car, but especially for one with front-wheel drive. The Type R packs some serious stopping power too, courtesy of the largest front and rear brake package you'll find on any Civic. The internally ventilated and cross-drilled front discs measure 13.8 by 1.3 inches and are clamped down by Brembo 4-piston aluminum calipers. Bringing up the rear are 12 by 0.43 inch discs and single-piston calipers. Knowing that the SI is capable of stopping from 60 miles an hour in about 106 feet, I'd estimate the Type R can do the same deed in about 100 feet. One thing's for sure, the car can stop on a dime with practically zero fade even after repeated hard stops. I think it's worth mentioning too that the pedal isn't overly sensitive with having the big brakes. There's some forgiveness which makes it easy to modulate. It's a nice feeling setup. Equally nice is the dual pinion rack pinion steering system. It utilizes both the physical steering input from the driver as well as a supplemental electric motor to provide more natural assistance. The steering is highly responsive and direct and accurate. It takes about 2.1 turns to lock and even has a varying ratio between 14.9 to 1 on center and 11.7 to 1 at full lock. The turning circle is measured at 37.8 feet. The Type R suspension is where things get really interesting. The front suspension in particular is dramatically different from any other Civic. Referred to as dual-axis, it's similar in concept to Ford's Revo knuckle and GM's hyper-strut suspensions in that it provides a mechanical solution to taming the bane of front-wheel drive performance cars, torque steer. The dual-axis design features aluminum knuckles, strut forks, and lower arms that separate the steering axis from the damping stroke. Along with unique geometry, stiffer springs, more negative camber, and more caster, the Type R is not only razor sharp through the corners, but it's incredibly stable even under full throttle acceleration. The multi-link rear suspension has also been thoroughly reworked for the Type R. It's mounted on a rigid subframe and incorporates stamped steel control arms, aluminum hub carriers, stiffer springs, stiffer bushings, and more negative camber. The front and rear hollow anti-roll bars are also thicker. With all of these stiffening measures, you might expect the Type R to be a chore to drive on a daily basis. Au contraire. 4-corner adaptive dampers are standard, just like the SI, but these are adjustable 3 ways instead of 2, so you can firm or relax the dampers on demand to reduce body roll or prioritize comfort. Regardless of the drive mode you have selected, the Type R's road manners are relatively tame considering what it's capable of. Along with damper firmness, the drive modes also control steering firmness. The Type R is not only the most powerful production Honda ever offered in America, but it's also the fastest. Under the hood, you'll find a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Peak output is 306 horsepower, 6,500 RPM, and 295 pound-feet of torque between 2,500 and 4,500 RPM. That's 101 horsepower and 103 pound-feet of torque more than the 1.5-liter Turbo 4 found in the SI. It's able to hit 60 miles an hour in about 5 seconds and top out at about 170 miles per hour. This engine benefits from a number of advanced construction techniques that focus on creating a lightweight yet strong power-dense engine with low internal friction and excellent fuel economy. The engine is constructed using a cast aluminum block with reinforced main bearing caps, cast iron cylinder liners, a Type R exclusive forged steel crankshaft, forged steel connecting rods, and lightweight pistons. The aluminum cylinder head houses chain-driven dual overhead camshafts with 4 valves per cylinder and an evolution of Honda's iVTEC variable valve timing and lift management system. The exhaust ports are cast directly into the cylinder head, eliminating the need for a traditional separate exhaust manifold, minimizing weight and component complexity. The single-scroll turbocharger pumps out up to 23.2 psi of boost, while a large front-mount intercooler lowers the temperature of the charged air, creating denser air for more effective combustion. Fuel is delivered by high-pressure direct injection, accompanied by a compression ratio of 9.8 to 1. Maximum engine speed is 7,000 RPM. The engine behaves a lot differently from Honda's high-revving, naturally aspirated engines of the past. While it's lost a bit of that character, it makes up for it in brute force. Acceleration feels in between the Focus RS and Golf R. Again, this is a front-wheel drive car that can easily hold its own against the all-wheel drive competitors. Power development comes on strong with minimal lag. At full throttle, this thing's a rocket. Out back, the triple outlet design of the exhaust is quite cool, especially from underneath. Gases are primarily routed through the 2 outer pipes. However, at lower speeds, gases flow through the middle pipe too, which contains a resonator that gives the Type R a slightly raspier sound. Think of it as an active exhaust system without any electronics. The change in sound is all based on exhaust pressure. That being said, I did find myself wishing it was a bit louder. Honda only offers the Type R with a 6-speed manual transmission, and a good one at that. It's smooth, precise, and offers just the right amount of throw. I'd even go as far as to say it's one of the most satisfying manual transmissions out there when it comes to overall feel, especially with the crisply defined shift gates and the solid aluminum shift knob. There's no unwanted vibrations or movement either, allowing you to really hone in on what makes it so good. Compared to other Civic 6-speeds, this one has a more rigid exterior case with a high-strength bearing system, high-strength gears, and greater torque capacity. On top of that, the transmission features automatic rev matching with 2 distinct profiles. The first one operates when the car is set to comfort or sport mode. It prioritizes smooth transitions to minimize potential driveline shock during upshifts and downshifts. The second profile activates in R mode. You'll immediately notice the aggressive and quick revving behavior. Of course, the system can be deactivated entirely via the driver's information system if you prefer to rev match yourself. Helping manage power delivery and reduce the chances of unwanted wheel spin is a helical type limited slip differential, something that's been standard on every Civic Type R since the beginning. There's even a built-in launch control system. Again, it really is remarkable how Honda somehow managed to mitigate torque steer so well without having to electronically limit how much torque is available in the first couple of gears. Honda recommends the use of premium and leaded fuel. EPA mileage estimates range between 22 miles per gallon in the city and 28 miles per gallon on the highway. Expect an average of 25 miles per gallon. Total capacity is 12.4 gallons. The layout of the Type R's interior is identical to that of the Civic hatchback, but the overall theme is dramatically different. If you love red and black, you'll feel right at home. Unique elements include red accent stitching, red instrumentation and audio system illumination, red piped floor mats, carbon look and red trim pieces across the doors and dashboard, and aluminum sport paddles. Every Type R has its own special serial number, which is displayed on a small plate in the center console. The fit and finish and quality of materials is very competitive for this segment. Many of the surfaces are padded or finished off in faux suede. The front seats are a unique, deeply bolstered design that offer a lot of lower and upper lateral support without compromising on comfort. They're wrapped in a combination of faux suede and technical fabric that offers both soft and grippy textures. Unlike some racing-style seats out there, these wouldn't feel out of place on a long trip. All the adjustments are manual and the headrests are fixed. The latter incorporates holes for racing harnesses and embroidered Type R logos. The driver's seat also has height adjustment. The red and black leather-wrapped steering wheel is thick and incorporates a flat bottom with grips at 10 and 2. It's a perfect complement to the seats and is manually adjustable. All of the important controls are positioned within easy reach of the driver. When it comes to storage space, the 10th generation Civics are immensely practical, even more so with the hatchback. There's door pockets, a generous center console and glove box, a floating center stack, and more. The Type R protects its occupants with dual front airbags, front seat mounted side airbags, and side curtain airbags for the front and the rear. So now let's go ahead and see how she sounds. The Type R comes in one very well-equipped trim level. Important standard features include a 7-inch capacitive touch infotainment system, hands-free telephone, automatic dual-zone climate control, a 12-speaker 540-watt audio system, a comprehensive app suite, and a multi-angle backup camera with guidance lines. The camera allows you to switch between top view, normal, and wide view angles when the car is in reverse. The infotainment system is pretty straightforward to use and includes things like navigation and smartphone integration technologies such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. My only wish is that the infotainment system had a physical knob for volume adjustment. Media options are also quite abundant with things like AM/FM, satellite and HD radio, Bluetooth streaming, USB integration, and Pandora Internet radio. Alright, let's go ahead and shut her down. Next, we'll hop in the back seat and check out overall space and amenities. The Civic hatchback offers a very roomy cabin that's very competitive in this segment. However, in the back seat, you have class-leading legroom. I'm 5'10" and I didn't have a problem sitting back there whatsoever with extra room to spare. And I would even go as far as to say if you're around 6 feet or maybe even 6'1", you also shouldn't have much trouble sitting back there. It's a fairly basic environment. You have some red accent stitching and seatbelts, and on the back of the front seats you have a cool carbon effect trim. You can only sit up to 4 people because in the middle there's a storage tray and 2 cup holders. Out back you can really see the practicality of the Civic hatchback take form. Behind the rear seat you have class-leading 25.7 cubic feet worth of space. Pull back the retractable cargo cover and fold down the 60-40 split seat, and the total cargo space expands to 46.2 cubic feet. Underneath the trunk floor, instead of a temporary spare tire, you have a tire inflation kit and some extra storage cubbies. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Honda Civic Type R. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.